All right, everybody. Game's just wrapping up over here on my right. We got 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And, well, yeah, that wasn't exactly what we were hoping for tonight. Seahawks lose 27 to 11, barring a Hail Mary here. And we're just going to run the draw up the middle, so there will be none of that. All right, so we end 27 to 11 Bears, and most of the game was actually kind of uglier than that. It was very sloppy, very undisciplined on our part. Not a whole lot to be happy about coming out of this one. And yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well overall. Not a game that most people are going to take positive things out of. Offensively was just, offense was mostly terrible. Defense had their moments, but overall, still, you're playing against a Bears team that figures to not be great offensively this year. So, giving up what you gave up to them on the ground, giving up what you gave up to them with their third string quarterback out there, even though it's not necessarily meaningful, it's still a little bit embarrassing. And special teams, I can't even begin to start on the special teams. That was one of the worst special teams performances I've ever seen. And big picture wise, before I start digging into the minutia here, the big picture, I've said a few times already this offseason that to the people who want or hope or expect Carroll to be fired after this season, and I've been saying it's not going to happen unless the team is just unwatchable. Now, that was unwatchable right there. What I saw out there tonight was so bad for most of that game. So bad that if we carry that performance over to the regular season, that is something that will actually cost people their jobs. It's one thing to be bad, but it's another thing to be incompetent and undisciplined and sloppy and not particularly motivated. We didn't look like we wanted it nearly as much as the Bears. We didn't look like we had the motivation that the Bears were bringing to the table. So for those of you out there who are still holding out hope that this is the final year for Carroll, and maybe you're a little disappointed and down by me trying to, tamp that expectation down because I don't think it's going to happen. Performances like that when the games start counting will make it happen. That was ugly. That was absolutely ugly. And if this team does that in the regular season, you're going to be looking at home crowds that are 10% of the seats are going to be full. People are going to be booing the whole game. Ticket prices are going to go through the floor. So yeah. That being said, let's start with the positives here. Let's try to find some positives here. I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I thought Gino played fine. I thought Gino played a pretty good game. I kind of feel bad for him because I see it on the social media. I see it on my Discord right now. People like, oh, Drew Lock just won the QB battle tonight. Oh, Geno Smith, not the guy. No, you can't do anything. You can't score any points. I'm seeing all that stuff, and I want to agree with it. I mean, I'm there with them conceptually because I'd like Drew Lock to get the opportunity here, but I thought Geno played good today, and he got no help. He got no help whatsoever. He maybe had one bad throw and one other kind of bad play where he needs to get rid of the ball quicker, but other than that, what can he do? Swain with the big third down drop. Bo Melton had several drops tonight, some with Geno, some with Eason. Derek Young had at least one drop, maybe two. So many drops out there. I think in total we probably had 10 drops tonight. Not all of them when Geno was out there, but we had several drives killed by just flat dropping the ball. So I think Geno played fine. And we'll see what's going on with his injury. I know he tweaked his knee on a play where he accidentally kicked Homer's heel. But if he's healthy, I have to believe what we saw out there tonight, even though it didn't result in positive results in terms of points and yards. I thought he played fine. So I'm going to say he's good. Other than that, offensively, Travis Homer was great, carrying the ball and catching the ball out of the backfield. The running game in general was fairly good. It was a little boom or bust tonight. There were definitely a lot of plays where it was just 2 yards in a cloud of dust, especially late. But overall, you would say the running game worked. I thought the pass protection was good early in the game. Later in the game, it got a little ugly. Forsyth got beat a couple times. I think it was Curhan got beat once or twice. Abe Lucas gave up that sack late. And obviously, we did have a penalty problem on the offensive line starting one Mr. Cross. But in terms of pure pass protection, I thought the team was on point. I thought the team did really well. So that was cool. And that's about where the positives end, admittedly. It's not a terribly long list. But considering that this team, what I'm looking at with this team is things like the offensive line being the most important thing of all, I thought they played pretty good today. Now, we did suffer one potentially devastating or the very least damaging injury, which we'll get to in a second here. But in terms of the way the offensive line played, I thought they looked pretty good. And that's worth quite a bit to me. Defensively, I thought Kobe Bryant, when he started playing in the second half, was playing good. He made some plays in coverage. He made some tackles that I thought were good. So I'm going to give it up to Kobe. I thought he did his thing. The pass rush, for the most part, was there. We didn't get a lot of sacks or anything, but we were able to get a lot of pressure. We were able to disrupt the opposing quarterbacks on a decent chunk of plays. It wasn't great or anything. I expected maybe a little better, but I still thought that was fine. And that's kind of where the positives dry up for me, because this was a mess. This was a little bit of a mess of a game, other than the things I just outlined here. Like I said, the receivers drop. I think we probably had 10 drops tonight. DJ had a drop, I think it was. So there's a running back, but mostly just these receivers. Melton, Derek, Swain with the drop. Aaron Fuller had that drop in the end zone. I know it's not an easy catch. Arcega Whiteside had a drop in the end zone, which very on brand for him. So I think that I think that if there's a silver lining here, it's that we only had Lockett and Metcalf for 3 plays each. We didn't have Eskridge. We didn't have Goodwin. Those are guys who, especially now, are very likely to be there when the season starts. So at least we can say, hey, we didn't have our top 4 guys at receiver. So you're looking at that and you're going, okay, it's a bunch of players who aren't going to play very much dropping the ball. It's certainly unfortunate. But you also look at that and you go, at least this is mostly preseason stuff. Now, I said the offensive line played pretty good, and in terms of blocking the pass rush, they did. Run blocking was a little more mixed. Early in the game, I thought it was fine. As the game went on, I thought it started to get away from us a little bit. Maybe in part because Damian Lewis went down with what looks like a very serious injury. We'll see what happens there. Obviously very sad, very tragic. Just got rolled up on. Aircast got brought out. Cart got brought out. All of it. So we'll see what happens. It's obviously sad because he was playing well so far, and he looked poised for a bounce back season. And with what I saw out there today, I'm not expecting to see him again this year. I'm just going to say it. So as far as I'm concerned, if he comes back to play this year, we dodged a bullet. But with him not out there, I didn't think the run blocking was quite as sharp. And the penalties, Cross had 5 penalties in this game, which, yeah, I mean, you don't see that happen pretty much ever. It's a good learning experience. It's better to happen now than happen in the regular season, but he's got some stuff to work on for sure, and I hope that he will. I just really, to me, most of it is just the drops. Let me pause that before ESPN raises a fit with me. But that to me was the main point of today's game. Like, Eason goes out there, and Eason, he's got a big arm. He's got some ability, but you don't know where it's going half the time. Sometimes it's on point, sometimes it's not. He suffered a lot of drops too, but some of those balls just go in weird places, and you don't know where the ball's going to land. And there's some plays where it just goes 8 yards short, 8 yards long, out of bounds, practically landing in the bleachers. It's like, this guy has no ability to aim his passes. So I don't see a whole lot there. It was pretty much what I was expecting from him. That's about it for the offense. It's just really hard to sustain drives when every third down there's a drop or a penalty. We had a great third down conversion to K. Johnson, who, by the way, played a pretty good game on offense. He's maybe the one receiver on this team I would shout out is playing pretty effectively and making enough plays to make me think maybe there's room for him on the team. Then, of course, he messes up on special teams, but it's two different things, I guess. Um, and there's a penalty on Gabe Jackson, a veteran, hands to the face, can't happen. I think we had 13 or 14 penalties tonight in total. And big picture wise, that's obviously going to be the main thing this team is focused on going forward in the coming weeks, I have to believe. Can't have that many penalties, especially when you're a team that doesn't have a ton of talent, a ton of great players like we used to. Used to get away with that stuff. We're not going to be able to do it now. And I think the problems that this team had tonight really start there with just the penalties. Marquise Blair had the another helmet-to-helmet play. He's in his fourth year in the NFL, still doesn't understand how to avoid those. Seems like the light bulb's not going to go on for him. He missed maybe 5 or 6 tackles by himself tonight. I think the defensive woes kind of start with Blair. To me, he was kind of the poster child. Him and Dublanco, I thought, played really badly. And both guys could find themselves on the outside looking in when this team starts doing their roster cuts. Blair, I mean, I know he's a second-round pick. I know he has talent. I know he has ability, but the light bulb is just staying dead. So at this point, I'm inclined to believe there's not much we can do with you, and you got to go somewhere else. So I would start with them, but the inability to tackle continued in this game, and unlike the first game, it's a little less excusable. Now, it's still preseason, but it's got to be said, we are getting closer to real games, and we have now seen 2 preseason games where the tackling has been abysmal. And as I said, Blair and Dublanco to me were kind of the main culprits there, because both those guys I thought played awful. Dublanco, by the way, can get off this team tomorrow. I said before when we signed him that, hey, I kind of want to see what he can do. Well, I've seen what he can do, and it's really, really bad. I'm not surprised by that, but we need to stop wasting reps on him. It's kind of like wasting reps on letting Freddie Swain be the punt returner. He's terrible at it. He can't return punts. Stop wasting reps on him. Find a guy who can do it. Give them to Cade Johnson. Maybe not Cade Johnson now. Give them to Aaron Fuller. Give them to Bo Melton. Give them to somebody else so we can figure out who's actually good at this. What else can you say about this defense other than just the bad tackling? Like I said, I thought the pressure was pretty good, but it's not going to matter nearly enough if we can't tackle. The run defense was a little bit better than it was last week. It was up, it was down. I thought it was overall okay, but there were a lot of runs into the pile late in the game. Early on, they did manage to make some hay. It seemed like they were just running tougher than we were tackling. It seemed like we were a little soft with our tackling. And I think that sums it up pretty well. I think Michael Jackson played a good game. I want to give him a shout out. He did let up some stuff, but he came back, made some positive plays, did some things that I liked. Made a great tackle on a 3rd and 1 to force a 4th and short. Josh Jones is somebody I got to shout out as well. I thought he made some plays out there. He's working his way onto the 53-man. I think at this point, he should probably be in heavy consideration for a 53-man roster spot. I like that dude, and he was one of our best players on defense tonight. And that's about all you can say for the defense. There are some things that I can point out and say, yeah, that was good. Kobe, I thought Tariq improved. I thought that, like I said, Josh Jones improved. But we got to get better at tackling. We got to get better at this discipline stuff. Our discipline was terrible tonight overall. And that's something that is completely in the hands of the coach to control, you would think. And special teams, I mean, my God. Jason Myers misses a makeable field goal. 2 long returns on kicks. I think 1 punt and 1 kickoff. We did recover an onside kick, so that's cool. But we also had multiple penalties on our own special teams returns. So all in all, you won't find a worse game for special teams than the one we played tonight. And I don't have much to say about that other than it's kind of a microcosm of the problems with this team tonight. It's all about just discipline, doing your job, staying in your lane. That's all special teams is most of the time. And tonight we really struggled with that. And A lot of this stuff I don't really care that much about. Backup receivers dropping passes, okay. But discipline, Gonna go live on stream in probably about, I don't know, half an hour or something. Gonna go live a little earlier than I usually do after a game because we finished up kind of late. This game took forever because of all the penalties, I think, and all the incomplete passes. But that's really my rundown here. It was an ugly game, more than like the whole team just playing terrible. It wasn't like the whole team played terrible. I'm not saying that, but it was just this general lack of there was a lack of passion, I felt like, from this team. There was a lack of fire, a lack of hunger, low discipline, and sloppiness abounded. And I feel like some guys played well, but we didn't get to reap the fruits of that because some guys were just not there. Like the Justin Coleman play on special teams. And by the way, Justin Coleman needs to go too. No way he makes this team with the way he's playing right now. He has the special teams play where he has a chance to pin the Bears at the 1, and he's standing on the goal line, and he looks down and he's like, oh my God, I'm standing on the goal line. And I'm just watching that and I'm thinking, are you stoned? Like, that tells me you were not ready to play in this game. And it's the preseason, okay, I would rather this happen now than later. But I look at that and I go, I don't think you were very focused tonight. I don't think you were dialed in. And Coleman is, by the way, a guy who I have to believe is aware that he may not make this team. So I don't like seeing that. Other than that, it's preseason. I'm not sweating anything too much. I'm not expecting big things from this team anyway. But if you know, I'm not going to put a lipstick on performances like this when the games actually start mattering. I'm not going to put lipstick on that pig. Okay, I can deal with losing, but I can't deal with this degree of sloppiness where your left tackle has 5 penalties by himself, where you've got players on defense who are trying to tackle without using their arms. Can't happen. But we got one more preseason game left to fix some of this stuff. I'm sure this week at practice is not going to be fun for the players because Carroll's going to give it to him a little bit about some of the things he saw out there. And of course, if it happens, I support it because that was bad. That was ugly. That was messy. All right, I'll see you guys in like half an hour in the stream. We'll go for about an hour. Then I'm going to head on out. Maybe we'll do another hour tomorrow. But let me know what you think about that one. Not a great way to start your home slate. Not a great way at all.